It's been a rough week over at CNN, where the network is doing everything they can to live up to the very fake news moniker President Trump gave them earlier this year. First, it was a complete hatchet piece of journalism on one-time Trump transition member and Fox News contributor Anthony Scaramucci, where a CNN article claimed Scaramucci was connected to a $10 billion Russian investment fund. The poorly sourced article was completely fake and untrue, according to Scaramucci, and it was eventually retracted, deleted, and 3 CNN journalists had to resign over the story, and an apology was issued to Scaramucci. Very fake news indeed. But that was just the start of it for CNN. After Sean Spicer informed the press this week that the press briefing on Monday would be an audio-only format behind closed doors with no cameras, CNN senior White House reporter Jim Acosta lost his mind. Take a listen to an indignant Acosta cutting off a female reporter that Spicer had just called on so that Acosta could demand Spicer turn on the cameras so Acosta can begin to do what he does best in these briefings: showboat and grandstand.
John, can you answer whether the president still believes the question?
There's no camera on, Jim.
Maybe we should turn the cameras on, Sean. Why don't we turn the cameras on?
Jen.
Why don't we turn the cameras on?
I'm sorry that you have to do. Jen, go ahead.
Why not turn the cameras on, Sean? They're in the room, the lights are on.
Acosta fell right into Spicer's trap so easily there. The entire reason Spicer wanted to cut down on the number of on-camera press briefings is because of that very behavior Acosta showed on tape. Spicer told Laura Ingraham on June 21st that he thought turning off the cameras was a good idea because, quote, "The nice thing about turning the cameras off sometimes, and I find this, is that it is not performance art, as you call it. That you end up having, I think sometimes, a more substantive discussion about actual issues," unquote. Spicer's dead right. All these mainstream anti-Trump media members actually see themselves as a vessel for the hashtag resistance, and thus they behave that way in these on-camera press briefings, grandstanding and showboating by demanding answers to non-questions or irrelevant issues over and over again just to try to shore up their ratings. But speaking of ratings, that brings me to the next piece of bad press for the folks over at Very Fake News CNN. You may have seen the incredible investigative undercover journalism done by our friends over at Project Veritas. Check out CNN reporter John Bonifield letting it slip the Russian collusion story is all about ratings.
Then why is CNN constantly like, Russia this, Russia that?
Because it's ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Our ratings are incredible right now.
But honestly, you think the whole Russia shit is just like bullshit.
Could be bullshit. I mean, it's mostly bullshit right now. Like, we don't have any big giant proof. I just feel like they don't really have it, but they want to keep digging.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the president is probably right to say, like, look, you are witch hunting me. Like, you have no smoking gun, you have no real proof.
That a no-name producer letting that slip is bad. Well, waking up today, James O'Keefe, the man behind the great work at Project Veritas, had promised yet another major CNN video in what they are calling their American Pravda series. And James O'Keefe did not disappoint.
What do you think is going to happen this week? I mean, with the whole Russia thing.
The Russia thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really? You don't think that?
There's nothing there you can do.
If you don't know who that was, well, that was CNN's #1 anti-Trump activist Van Jones. White Lash Van Jones. Man, that's good stuff right there. But if you thought that was it for Very Fake News CNN and the rest of the Very Fake News media, well, what if I told you the White House press briefing was back on in front of cameras yesterday, just a day after Spicer's exchange with Acosta, and a day after the first of those 2 Project Veritas videos was released? Well, here is a glorious exchange between Deputy White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders and the gathered media in the briefing room.
This administration has done that as well. Why in the name of heavens? Any one of us, right, are replaceable, and any one of us, if we don't get it right, the audience has the opportunity to turn the channel or not read us. You have been elected to serve for 4 years at least. There's no option other than that. We're here to ask you questions. Right. You're here to provide the answers. And what you just did is inflammatory to people all over the country who look at it and say, see, once again, the president is right and everybody else out here is fake media. And everybody in this room is only trying to do their job.
Well, I disagree completely. First of all, I think if anything has been inflamed, it's the dishonesty that often takes place by the news media. And I think it is outrageous for you to accuse me of inflaming a story when I was simply trying to respond to his question.
That was Brian Karem of the Sentinel newspapers being put in his place by Huckabee Sanders. And how can you blame her, really? After all the list of things I went through here that CNN did just in the last week, combine that with the breathless coverage of Russian collusion suggesting how the president is somehow a treasonous traitor who colluded with Putin to steal the election, and I would be pretty upset with the media and get my back up too. But doesn't that kind of exchange I just played also underline the reasoning Sean Spicer and the administration outlined as to why there would be fewer on-camera briefings because of all the showboating and grandstanding, or performance art as Sean Spicer called it, that the press does for ratings as part of their #resistance? If that is how reporters insist on behaving in front of the cameras, and we know what they say when they aren't aware that the cameras are rolling, as illustrated by the Project Veritas videos, then both the administration and Veritas just need to keep on this course and let the very fake news media bury themselves. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. CNN is very fake news indeed, so make sure you keep it locked to your home of the real news, Rebel Media.